What's happening, guys? Hope everybody's doing well tonight. So the dealership, the brand was Mercedes-Benz, and the 150K is just the starting salary. So you get like performance bonuses, you hit your quota, you know, the dealership does really well one month, you get more money. So the 150K is minimum 150K, but it's not all about the money, guys. It's really not. Before I get started in this story, tell me what you guys think. Do you think that if I was the boss that the salesperson ran to go grab, do you think you would have enjoyed dealing with me? I think you would have. So going back a few years, and this is right when I first started my car buying service, Boston Auto, and one of my best friends reaches out to me and he goes, listen, I really want to get into a Mercedes E-Class. Can you help me out? I'm like, all day. Let's go. Pick me up in 20 minutes. We're going to Mercedes. Let's do it. So we go to Mercedes and we're dealing with quite possibly the most aggressive salesperson I've ever dealt with, and I still deal with him to this day. And I love the guy so much because he just takes care of business. But he couldn't take care of business that day because obviously he had to deal with me. And he calls over his sales manager. A sales manager comes over and is very loose in his demeanor. Right? Not really dressed for the job, and you could tell he's been doing it for quite a while. And come to find out, a few months after we did the deal, he retired. So comes over and he says, you know, I really like you. You've been pestering us and you've been telling our sales guy, I'm not going to mention his name, that this deal is completely possible, and you've been sticking to your guns, and you're giving off this vibe like you haven't lost your patience yet. This deal is completely ridiculous, but we're going to do it. I'm like, great. I looked at my friend and I'm like, congrats. I don't know, I guess it's my smile. I don't know what it is, but we got this deal done. So he pulls me aside. So I don't know exactly what was going through this guy's head, but he pulls me aside after and he asked me, you know, what do you do for work? And I hadn't told them about the car buying service yet. I hadn't told them about BAC. To be honest, I was kind of embarrassed. I was just going by the whole story about he's my really good friend. And I told him, you know, we have a catering company and restaurant. And he goes, no. He goes, what cars did you used to sell before? Almost like he knew. I'm like, BMW. He goes, would you be interested in coming back into the business? Would you be interested in selling Mercedes? I'm like, as a salesperson? He goes, no. He goes, you're too good to be on the floor. He goes, what do you think about being a sales manager? And it was a tough decision to make on the spot. Like I even told him, with all the other stuff that was going on, I'm like, do you mind if I just think it over? Long story short, I said no. But the amount of consideration I was giving to the thought was kind of crazy, because it really is sort of an enticing offer that it's very hard to say no to. Why did I say no? I mean, we're talking about the possibility of like 200K in a position like this. It's not like an easy thing to say no to, but there were so many other factors that play into what they wanted me to do, and it's not just all about the money. Essentially, what he wanted me to do was be the floor sales manager, as in deal with salespeople if they have a problem, or you know, if a salesperson is having trouble closing a deal, go in, you know, basically handle getting the deal closed for them. Essentially what he basically came over and did for that particular salesperson, and basically babysit salespeople. If they've got a problem or they're upset with something, you've got to basically calm them down. Or let's say, you know, we've got a disgruntled customer, I've got to basically go in and find out why and correct the issue. And that's just like really just the simple stuff. There's so many other things. You're not even allowed to have a bad day. I'm not talking about you personally. Like if you're having a bad sales day and you're not even in charge of actually selling the car, your salespeople are, that reflects all on you. It's almost like, why did you let that happen? Why didn't you make any phone calls? Why didn't you, you know, get more aggressive with customers? Like you're being held accountable for that day's performance. Imagine the stress involved with having to basically babysit salespeople. Imagine the stress involved with having to produce a certain amount of sales per day. This is consistent. Like these are just consistently long, exhausting, stressful, nerve-wracking days that don't lead to an end. It's just consistent. Every day is like this. And my issue with this isn't so much that I can't handle it. It's about the long-term goal or the long-term objective. You're going to be doing this with the idea in your mind that you're going to be doing this for the rest of your life, or at the very least permanently, until you can find something better, I guess. Never fails, ever. And with what time in your life, with this quote-unquote work-life balance, to actually find that something better? When are you supposed to find it? You're consistently in the dealership, and you're supposed to actually have a life outside of the dealership, which is pretty much non-existent because you're basically there from the morning until the very end of the day, the last person in there at the end of the day. So it's sort of like a catch-22. Like, you're gonna be locked into that dealership for quite some time. And having been in the business already, guys, one of the worst tastes that I had in my mouth was the same person that hired me at BMW got fired 3 months later. And basically since then he's been bouncing around to different dealerships. So, you know, I was tossing it around in my mind. I'm like, I'm gonna get launched out of this position the moment that I start climbing up the ladder. Like, even if I were to get promoted to general manager, what am I gonna do? How long am I gonna stay in that position? It's almost like the turnover in this business is so ridiculous that even if you're an outsider, you just know that you're not gonna be there for very long. Like, the only people that stay in these positions for a very, very long time are people that are affiliated with the owners of the dealership, or they're a salesperson that's established so profoundly at that store that it's very, very hard for that person to actually leave. And he almost has, you know, the ultimate job security because that dealership actually needs them to stay at that store. I guess some of the perks, if you want to hear why it was so enticing and hard to say no, you get a car at that dealership to drive home. Like, you basically slap a dealer plate onto the back of any car you want, pretty much. When you request the time off well in advance, you get a decent amount of time off. There's all sorts of actual benefits. Pretty good health care. You get, you know, 401k matching, all the stuff that you would normally get at a corporate company. Not to mention the money, guys. Like, if you're gonna be in a dealership from morning until night dealing with that much stress, 200k a year does not sound like it's a crazy amount to get paid for doing something like this. You put up with a lot being one of these sales managers at the dealership. And the ones that I enjoy working with, I give them a decent amount of respect because they deal with a ton of crap. They really do. But I guess they're compensated for it. So what do you guys think? Am I crazy for giving up that job offer? Am I too good for it? Or is it something that you think would be a waste of my talent? Let me know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments section. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. And if you want to see and hear more of my car dealership and negotiation related videos, please consider subscribing. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.